Are we on the air? Let me see. Yes, we are. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome all to the Misfits Racing League Sit-Down Talk Show. We are doing, once again, a double tonight as we are covering 2 weeks of fun. I'm Nick 29 Champ as your host, as I have my broadcasting buddy, Justin Watson, a.k.a. Cowboy Watson.
Good evening, folks.
And, of course, we have the truck admin, Dave. So,
good evening.
So, gentlemen, we have a lot to cover from a week's racing. Last race, we were, well, 2 weeks ago, I believe we were at... Where were we 2 weeks ago? I know we were
for
at...
which series, Nick?
All of them. But,
okay, for the last 2 weeks in Cup, we had the Glen and Richmond. For Xfinity, we were at Indianapolis and Talladega. And then for trucks, we were at Indianapolis all around. The Roval and the Oval.
All right. Well, there you go. Let's start with Cup really quick. Cup at Watkins Glen was a very good race, if you ask me. I think it was one of the best road racing we've seen. There was a lot of strategy pulled, and it was absolutely the GU show, if you had to ask me. He tore it up, and I tell you, you
may say it was the GU show, but Corolla's the one that walked away with the win there.
Was it?
Yeah, Corolla won that one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They were beating and banging for that win.
Sure were, and it was the Michigan boys 1, 2, 3 once more. Yours truly picked up a 4th place finish, and I tell you, Dave, it was not a 7th place finish. I promise you that. I will never finish 7th again.
You'll finish 7th this week, watch.
Oh my goodness. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Corolla.
You could finish last.
You can have my luck and finish. You can have my luck right now, Nick, and finish dead last.
Well, I've been there, done that many times.
I know,
leagues. Buddy. Well, yes, Corolla did pick up the win. GU second. Car finished off a third. Myself finishing in 4th. And Rogue picking up a top 5 at Watkins Glen, given that Rogue is a road ringer. So,
good run for Rogue.
It was a good run for
good run for our broadcast buddy.
Hey, man, I mean, heck, I love road racing at that track. I don't like anywhere else but that track, man. That's the only road course I can only tolerate. So, but yeah, that was a good race. Dave was in that race as well, but in a different car driving the 41. Now, the reason why he's in the 41, because, well, there's probably not going to be a 14 in the Cup Series next game, so he's got to abandon ship and move to the 41.
It's called number familiarity.
It is. Absolutely it is. And 2 weeks ago, we were at the Indianapolis Oval for the Xfinity Series, and it was a fun race to be denied. That was GU who took that one.
I don't know if that was really a fun race, Nick. The first 2 stages were just wreckfest.
Right, but you gotta also realize that it's also you gotta realize, Justin, it's just a regular race. It's not like
it is, but you know, I'm just saying overall because I was the one on the track. You were up in the booth. It was sort of a wreck fest.
It was, but you also gotta realize there was a lot on the line because you gotta realize that next week was go or go home. You know, that's the big thing. So. And also,
not really, Nick. We just had a big crowd. We've just had big crowds the last few weeks.
Right.
For Xfinity.
16 cars.
Yeah, you have to realize with 16 cars that stuff like that's gonna happen.
It is gonna happen with a big field. I'm telling you, 16 cars or more is a big field where you gotta realize we've had more than that before. But Justin, we covered Indianapolis Roval 2 weeks ago, and boy. History was in the making.
A lot of beating and banging in that Indianapolis Roval race for trucks.
It was, absolutely. And I tell you what, like I said, we made history in the making, and that was a very fun run for none other than PA's JPR, and it was the rolling and, well, it was the PA.
It was the Pennsylvania show all together. They were 1-2 and finished 1-2.
Exactly. It was a good run for both of them. A really great run for both of them.
Yeah, and a lot of, but what JPR really said in that interview after the Roval was he was more fortunate to get out of that final stage restart where cars kind of scattered everywhere.
Absolutely, and another driver who had a good run, that was Fula, who got a third place finish. And I tell you what, the Indianapolis Roval again was history in the making. We had never ran that track. Not even once until that week, and I tell you, that was the most fun I think we covered a broadcast. If you ask me,
I don't know about most fun, but it was very challenging because it was a track that we'd never covered before.
Exactly, and again, it was a learning curve for all of us. You know, it's a learning curve.
Well, not only a learning curve for the broadcast team, but Dave, you were also in that race. What kind of learning curve did you learn from that?
Not to get a penalty.
Well, that's easier said than done.
Yeah, easier said than done. It's just a tough track. I kind of, I kind of liked it. I didn't have a good finish, but I think it was the top 10 or so. It'll definitely be on the schedule next season.
Oh, wow. So are we still doing another season on this game if that's the case?
I don't know yet. Me and Maddie and RKM haven't really discussed it. If we could get one more in, I'd like to get one more in.
I think it's possible because there's no really date on when this new game's coming out yet either.
Yeah, and there hasn't been much info on it, so... Right.
We get that.
Idea. I'm afraid if we run another season and then the servers just shut down, we're gonna have to figure something out. But I wouldn't mind running another season.
I don't think a whole lot of people would. I wouldn't mind it either, to be honest.
Just give us 2-3 week break and then we get back in it.
That sounds fair enough.
Sounds like a plan to us, if you ask me.
But anyways, that was a really challenging race for the truck guys at that Roval. It really was. Out of all the three road courses that we had in the trucks this season, that Indianapolis Roval was probably the most challenging out of all three of them.
Absolutely. And last week in Cup, Cup cars went to Richmond. 11 cars made that race, and G picking up his 7th win of the season.
He's just been on fire in general.
He really has.
And if he hadn't missed Michigan, we're talking about him literally possibly walking away with this title right now.
And as it stands, going into tomorrow at Charlotte, knowing that if we can get the Cup points pulled up on my phone.
GU leads Corolla by 1 point.
Longest race of the season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's not that, though. We got Charlotte and Talladega coming up. I think Talladega's going to really
shake everything up.
It could really determine out, who wins the championship. In my opinion,
exactly,
because it's a wild card race, and then there's Phoenix and Pocono as well before we hit Atlanta for the season finale.
Exactly, and like Dave just said, that tomorrow is going to be our longest race. Tomorrow, 100 laps. It is going to be a thriller. And yes, GU leads Corolla by just 1 point, and right now Gar sits with 9 points out. And I tell you what, if Gar has any chance of catching those two, it better be tomorrow.
He's got to get victory. He needs to get in victory lane. He's got to get in victory lane at this point. He can't.
You also got to worry about strategy because you got 100 laps and no cautions. You can't.
Oh yeah. Up. Without a caution, it can mess a lot of things up.
Exactly, and given that last season, I don't know what I did wrong, But what I did is, I think the very first pit stop, and I think Dave remembers this, I stayed out one extra lap. I didn't mean to. I was trying to get down to pit road, and I just was like, you know what, I miscounted that strategy. So, but hey, that we all learn mistakes from that, don't we?
Well, see, Nick, that's something that you can learn for tomorrow night.
Exactly. And here is your here are the rest of your point standings. Reb will sit fourth. Myself right now in fifth. Turnover just joined. How you doing, Turnover? Rogue sitting in sixth. Mill is sitting in seventh. Michael in eighth. And rounding out the field, rounding out the cup points is Arc AM. And there you have those cup points. In Talladega was a very, very fun race if you were in that race. Piff took the victory, Miss Wow. Turnover, your very own 20 car took the regular season champion. Stage 1.
That was a fun race until I got clipped.
Your stage 1 top 3 was Full Pool, Piff, JPR, and then Stage 2 was Dave, Full Pool, Zios, and Pip took the victory. And I tell you what, Dave, you had a very fast car, Stage 2.
Yeah, we just made a mistake. We decided that we were going to pit a lap early, and nobody came with us, and we just got hung out to dry.
And, you know, this gave Speedway a good playoff point. He hit a fast lap of a 47.837, and your top 5 from that race was Piff, myself, Full Pool, JPR, Rob. And I tell you what, Dave, if you see my perspective, I told this to Full Pool right after the race. I was like, man, Full Pool, it would have been amazing if you had gave me a shot. Maddie's crown now thrown out the window, and the new restrictor plate king has been...
There ain't no restrictor plate king. It just means his reign at restrictor plates is over. There ain't no restrictor plate kings. Come on, Nick.
This Wednesday, these guys will be heading to Texas Motor Speedway for the first round of the playoffs here. And Dave, I'm kind of curious because of the reseeding, there are 13 guys in the Xfinity playoffs, and that kind of got me confused.
It kind of threw everybody off, but G-Pre made the cut limit on points, so he's in. So, you know, we usually do 4. Take out the first 4, but I think we're going to take out the first 5 on that second round knockout.
Right, and here is the point standings after Talladega reseeding. Full Pool is going to lead us with 11 playoff points in JPR, Piff, Turnover, Fula, Dave, Maddie, Speedway, Zios, Eternal, Cowboy, Tunes, and of course G-Pre. And right now, as we got word that Full Pool will not make Wednesday's race, and that is going to be a very... Both races.
He's missing both of them this week.
That's going to be a bummer. That's a real bummer.
It's a big bummer. It's a big bummer for the rookie phenom, but we always say this too in this league, Nick. Life comes first over a damn video game.
Exactly. That's my exact point there. And yes, life always comes first. And so, looking at the top 13, I know you both are Xfinity guys, but I'm thinking probably going to get eliminated first round. I'm going to say this. I don't want to be cruel or anything, but I got Speedway, Tunes, Eternal, and probably you, Watson. I'm sorry. I know that's cold, but it's the hard truth.
I think it's going to be full of.
Well, actually,
that one race that's going to kill him.
Well, exactly. Here's the thing, though, Nick. You're going. Oh, well. I'm sorry about this. I'm sorry about that.
Well, actually,
it's a brand new season in the playoffs. People can shock the world. You keep going off of, well, people have this experience and that have that experience. People can go out and shock the world at any time.
Yep.
Well, another thing, exactly.
You're too bent on everybody's experience. You know, it all depends on how people run. There's tracks that people could that we have in the playoffs that we go to, and people are going to go, oh crap, I don't run good here. It can happen.
Right. And another thing, go ahead, Dave.
Really see a battle between Full Pull and JPR and turnover.
I think it's more. I don't know if Full Pull can get himself into the round of 8, it's possible.
Well, now
here's the thing. We have 2 high draft tracks in these playoffs, Michigan and Auto Club. Before we even get to Atlanta, there's some huge curves in these Xfinity playoffs.
Another thing that you all just mentioned, Full Pull, mentioning he's not going to make either Wednesday or Thursday. This could probably put him back. This could probably put him below that cutoff. So.
Yeah, that means you're going to have to race hard in your one race, and that one race may not even be enough, Nick.
Exactly, and here...
That's why I was trying to explain to Matty this morning. It's like, he may have a 10-point advantage, but missing a race, that lead goes right out the window on that cut line.
And really quick, now we head over to the truck side, where trucks were at Indy, oval this time, not the Roval, so... Trucks were at Indianapolis 2 weeks in a row, and Corolla will take the regular season championship. Speedway sneaks on in. Meanwhile, Matty he is not going to run for a championship. Here's
the thing, Nick. Matty could have easily had a playoff spot, but he missed 2 races. Matty's not worried about the trucks. That's more of a league owner going, you know what? These guys are learning. These guys are fighting as hard as anything else. Let them have a shot. I don't need it.
Exactly, and you got to realize this, too.
That's a class act.
It is, and you also got to realize that it was a battle between Rogue and Speedway for that last playoff effort. And
we like we had covered, Nick. They had been battling for that last spot practically the whole second half of the regular season.
Yep, absolutely. And here is the stage 1 and 2 top 3. As stage 1 was won by Full Pull, then Corolla, JPR, and then stage 2 top 3 Corolla, Reb, and Rolling. Corolla picking up the victory. Boy, Dave,
it was a close battle at the end.
Yes, it was, and Dave, JPR beat his old record by a good, look at that. He hit a 52.191. He beat his old record of a 52.291 back in season 7. I mean...
Wow, so a whole 10th.
Exactly, and your top 5 was Corolla, JPR, Reb, Full Pull, and Rolling. Again, we are headed to Texas for both Xfinity and trucks, and
Dave, the playoffs.
Exactly. Dave, as an admin over there in trucks, what do you expect for these playoff guys to do, or what do you expect out of these guys?
I think it's going to be a battle.
I mean, I'm going to say this right now. If you ask me, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be a battle between Full Pull and Corolla. But, however, as mentioned, Full Pull will miss this week, and I think what he's got to do, he's got 9.
He's got to go hard at Richmond. He's got to go hard at Richmond.
He does, and here are your playoff seedings going into Texas Motor Speedway on Thursday night, which we'll cover here on the Misfits Racing League. Corolla with 14, Full Pull with 9, Rolling with 6, JPR with 4, Jamie with 3, Fula with 2, and then 7th through 12th, all with 0 playoff points, as 7th is Piff. Reb makes the playoffs. Dave makes the playoffs. Turnover, Rogue, and Speedway. How about Speedway, man? I mean, Dave and Watson, I think Speedway is going to be a contender for that Rookie of the Year.
It's gonna be tight.
It's gonna be tight.
It really is, and some of these guys, you gotta realize, have good experience, but yet we got new guys who've never made the playoffs before, and you gotta realize this too, Dave. Jamie has not made the playoffs in a long time, and this is
Jamie also took a little break as well.
Right, and that's the same thing with Rolling as well. Rolling has had the same thing. He took a couple seasons off and said, "Hey, I'm going through a lot, or I'm not really feeling like I want to run, or because work's in the way, I can't make these races." So, familiar faces here in the playoffs, given Jamie and Rolling.
Well, not only that, we've got storylines too in these truck playoffs. We got the defending champion versus the Phenom rookie. We've got the seasoned vet versus the Phenom rookie. Now I'm talking about, Corolla and Rogue, in that mix with Speedway there, in that conversation. We've got some storylines in these truck playoffs.
Right, and I think we got word one night that's saying that, Rogue has never made a Final Four in trucks.
No, he made it. He made it.
Which one? I believe it.
I don't have my book with me right now, but he has made it.
I was going to say.
But he's been really good the last couple weeks, if you ask me.
If you ask me who's been really on their game the last, I would say basically since Road America has been rolling.
You
have to remember Ducky won Eldora.
He did, yes, it did. Helped him really well. And yes, Rogue did make it in season 7. I see it now. So yes, he did. So I got it. So yes, he did make. But you also got to realize this too, Dave, that he finished 4th out of those 4 guys. So it's been really.
At least he made one. Give him that.
Oh yeah. You got to be proud of it.
Oh yeah. You got to be proud of it anytime you make the Final Four. So
exactly.
Absolutely.
Even though you didn't win a championship, just be happy you're racing for a championship, man. Just be happy about it.
Heck, I'm just happy to be a damn playoff driver, and I'm just a rookie driver in the Xfinity League. It's all good.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. And you got to realize last season we had 2 rookies in the truck Final Four, and that was Gar and Fula. And I tell you, could we see a rookie get inside that opportunity and say, hey, it's my time to shine. I'm going to make this Final Four. I'm going to be the upset champion. So
it's possible because because here's the thing, Nick. Atlanta's a track that eats up tires faster than it eats up fuel. It's like Charlotte.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And I mean, me and Dave have experienced that. And yes, if you watch looking at the tires, even if you're in the draft, those tires go, like, if you're on lap number 2, go to lap maybe 5 or 7. The tires are down. Bad. It's bad.
Well, it's not that. Atlanta's a bumpy track, too.
It is, and you can run wide open as well, guys. You can run wide open as well at that track if you're not around anyone. So
yeah, I think running wide open is going to eat your tires more.
But yeah, exactly. Running wide open eats the tires up more. So it's like I say, that's still a month away from now. But it's going to be on some people's minds once they get to that championship week. Like, how do I set up my car? How do I set up my strategy?
Absolutely.
This the championship week in these playoffs, Nick, is going to tell a lot about every driver and how their strategy works out. Absolutely. But we don't even know who that championship 4 is yet because we haven't even knocked the playoffs door down yet. But we will on Wednesday night.
Absolutely. And here are the Final 4 runners from season 11 to season 2. If we can get that in really quick.
Why do we need to do the season 4 rundown, Nick? What we need to do is discuss who do we think is going to do well in these playoffs. We shouldn't worry about the Final 4s right now. We could do Final 4s on championship week. What we should do here is start talking about who do we think is going to possibly be the champion, who do we think is going to be the underdog, for these playoffs in both of these series, because there's a lot of storylines.
Yep. So I'm going to say, I think if Duck I'm going with Duck because if Duck is my guy. I mean, I've seen him be a champion in Cup, and yet this could help him a lot. This could put him as another solidifies as a champion, and yes, Duck, he turned it up ever since Eldora. This guy Ever since he didn't get the win at Road America, he was like...
No, he was close at Darlington. Yep. It's been since Darlington. I mean, basically since Darlington, he's been on fire.
Yep. And yet, I think, like you said, Darlington, and I think since Darlington, he's had a fire in his gut saying, I need to turn it up, man. I need to gain these
it's not
points.
only that. It's not only that, Dick. It was also a row of tracks that Duck has been really good, that Duck was comfortable at and very good at as well.
Right. And
now how Texas plays out for some of these guys, who knows?
And Dave, as a driver who we've driven Texas before, that turn 4 coming out of the corner, you go all the way up to that wall. You don't want to go all the way up there and hit that thing, and you're going to get extra loose and hit it and maybe have a wreck.
I'm just kind of looking at the schedule here.
For which series?
For trucks,
it's a very challenging playoff for trucks because we have 4 different tracks with four different lengths, track lengths.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
Yeah, because I mean, the round of 12 we got Texas and Richmond, 2 totally different tracks. The round of 8's Dover and Talladega, 2 totally different tracks.
Exactly.
And then you got Atlanta, which is a whole nother monkey wrench.
Exactly.
Like, I'm saying, Xfinity and trucks this season for these playoffs, there's monkey wrenches everywhere.
Yes, absolutely. And I tell you, there are tracks like, Richmond is good if you can handle that right. I think the big curveball, if you ask me, is going to be Talladega because what you got to do going into that, because remember, it is the
stage racing is going to be important in that race.
Exactly, and you also got to realize, don't mess up on your entry. That is going to be key, honestly.
Very key.
Because, especially in that third and final stage, you cannot have a speeding ticket that night. You cannot.
Can't have any type of mistakes, really at Talladega.
No.
Exactly.
I mean, look at what happened with me last week. I missed pit road, and I ran out of gas and had to retire my car. Yeah, it happens.
Exactly. It's going to happen to you. It's going to happen to everyone. So it is going to happen to all of us, but yet you cannot have it in the final stage. In the first 2 stages, sure. It's a mistake. Just got to capitalize on those mistakes, though. You got to capitalize on them. And I'll tell you what, Texas is going to be one of those tracks where you got to make sure your tires are okay.
I don't think it's that, Nick. I think it's more of that turn 4 exit that you were just mentioning. If you smack that wall, you might be playing Dukes of Hazzard with that dogleg grass more than anything.
Oh, yeah. It's Texas and Charlotte are notorious. You get loose coming out of 4. So you're going to have to find a common ground to get that. Either the left sides are up or tighten that car up.
Oh, I agree. It's like
it's all about having the right. It's all about having the right slider setup, I think, in both the trucks and Xfinity this week, if you ask me.
Oh, I know that for sure, because there's a lot. You got to make sure you don't make a mistake on those things. But I'm telling you guys, these playoffs are important. Regular season's over. So you got to realize regular season's over. Now it's on. You got 5 weeks.
It's a reset, basically.
Yes, exactly. 5 weeks, gentlemen. This is 5 weeks of hard work. You got to have these 5 weeks be perfect. You cannot make mistakes these next 5 weeks. I'm telling you, yes, it's gonna you're gonna have a lot of stress off your shoulder if you advance. If you don't, well, it's still gonna be a lot of stress on these guys' shoulders, thinking, okay, what do I have to do to outsmart my opponent? You know, how am I going to outsmart this guy on fuel? How am I going to do this on tires? How am I going to pit this time, or am I going to hit? You know, it's all about the what ifs. You know,
I think you'll see more of that in the Cup Series. I mean,
yeah, you see that more in the Cup Series than the other two, Nick.
They have
if you think about that.
So it's gotta be. I could see Gar getting his first win.
I could too. And I won't even lie, Nick. I could see you possibly winning Talladega and Cup. It's possible. Because that's a right place, right time track, you know.
No, I don't see it.
I'm just saying it's possible.
I don't see it. Because I'm an idiot.
Dang, Nick. Next time you gonna run Talladega, make sure you don't win.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm kidding. You're Chevy, right, Nick?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I work with Chevys.
I mean, I work with whoever. I mean, I've even worked with...
It's all about having the right partner at the right time at that track.
That's what I'm saying. You got to have that right partner any way. So you got to have your partner anyway.
But no, again, like I said, there's some tracks. This is going to be a tough battle between those three Michigan boys for this crown.
Oh, yeah. And Reb is sneaking up.
I don't think not when you're 40 points back. Not with if there was stage races in the Cup, it'd be a possibility. But with 5 races to go and 40 points back, I don't see it. But Reb's a solid 4th. I will say that.
I mean, Reb can go on a tear.
He could go on a tear, but he has to go on that tear now because we're in the last part of the season for Cup.
Exactly, and you gotta realize again, tomorrow is Charlotte, then Talladega, Phoenix, Pocono, and Atlanta. You gotta realize JPR may come in and steal that win away because given Pocono is his home track, he could probably steal the show there.
I believe he's got 1 race left.
I believe he does have 1 race left. I believe. Did he not run? If he ran Watkins Glen, he has 1 race left. I believe. I don't remember.
I think he has 1.
I don't know. I don't think he ran Watkins Glen. I didn't see him on my stream. So
I think Corolla has 1.
He's saving that for next week. He's saving that for next week, and he's saving that for next week, Dave. I can tell you that because I know GU probably wants to run that. I know the Michigan boys want to run their home track. I can tell you that right now. Because Michigan, this track it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I love Michigan with high draft. You could, even in qualifying, there's one time where I think it was, I don't know what season it was, but me and Dave start on the front row. And I'm like, this is odd. I don't ever think I'd ever see me and Dave starting on the front row, ever. That is something. But, again, anything can happen during qualifying. Because you got to realize, at Michigan, it's high draft. Once you get into that draft and you stay in line and you get a good lap, like a 38 or something like that, you are literally... You guys stay in that draft. It is like a restrictor play all over again. I'm telling you, it's fun.
It is fun. It is fun, but also got to be aware of who gets squirrely and makes a mistake.
Exactly, and you know, I think it's gonna be crazy tomorrow night and all this week because. You know, Charlotte, again, we've mentioned, turn 4 is going to be treacherous. You hit the apron, you're going straight into that wall. It's the same thing with Texas. So you do not want to get loosey-goosey tomorrow at Charlotte, nor do you want to do that at Texas because you got to make sure you grip that steering wheel, make sure you save that race car because you're along for the ride if you're going loose into the corners like that. And
like I said with turn 4 at Texas, Nick, it's going to be quite interesting to see how many drivers play Dukes of Hazzard with that infield grass there.
Exactly, and you know
I might do it a time or two, not accidentally, you know,
no,
or intentionally.
No. No. But, I mean, as you guys are Xfinity, I mean, do you guys think that, Piff is a guy who I think could probably just maybe get inside the top 4 and maybe even advance in these next 2 weeks? And I think Piff is one of the guys. I don't know what about y'all. I mean, Piff needs
here's the thing. The big curveball right now is Full Pool missing altogether, and who else ends up missing this week? We don't know. But it's a lot. It's going to be a lot of work if you miss this week to try to get yourself in that top 8 after Michigan for Xfinity. Same thing for trucks with Texas and Richmond.
Exactly.
And we said this in the league chat. Missing a race will basically determine your playoff fate.
Exactly. Oh, yes, absolutely.
I'm not going to pick a driver or anything like that, but I'm going to say the 2 tracks I think you're going to have to watch out for, and not including Atlanta, is going to be Atlanta and Michigan, the high draft tracks for Xfinity.
I agree, absolutely.
Those you're going to have to watch.
Auto Club.
Well, not only that, isn't Auto Club a high draft track too?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
We've got that in the round of 8.
Well, you got to realize this too, guys. We have Texas tomorrow, Wednesday, and then we go next week at Michigan. That's a high draft, and then we go to another high draft in 2 weeks to Auto Club, and then we're going to another high draft at Atlanta in Xfinity.
It's basically 3 high draft tracks in the playoffs for Xfinity.
Exactly, and there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 high draft tracks, and yeah, it's going to determine if you get those, because another thing that's key is playoff points, the fastest lap, the pole, stage wins. Those are key. Those are a playoff point. You got to make sure you get that bonus point to make sure, going into that next round, Dave.
Get a little edge.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, you got to realize that sometimes that, if you win the stage, that's going to boost up. Even though you finished terrible in the race, you still got that playoff chip on your shoulder saying, okay, I got that bonus point for winning a stage, winning the pole, or winning the race, or whatever it is.
But you also have to realize, too, that after the reset of each round, it's almost like resetting yourself after 2 weeks.
And you gotta realize
with our format here,
exactly,
you're basically resetting yourself.
You really gotta be on your A game if you're an Xfinity trucks, because these next 5 weeks, and again, if you miss one race, y'all mentioned that perfectly determines the fate of your playoffs. So
it really could.
And so you gotta be on those. You got to be on your A game in these playoffs, because these playoffs are going to determine whether you make it or you don't make it. So it could come down to whether one guy is in by just 2 points, and then this guy needs more than just those 2 points. It's just you just gotta get there. I'm telling you, that chip is on that shoulder and saying, man, I got to make sure I make these next 4 weeks, because if I make these 4 weeks and I have good finishes better than my opponent, then I should probably be okay on going into Atlanta, Dave.
Well, it's crapshoot. That's what it is.
And another thing is, Dave, cautions could play a factor. If you're a lap down in that third and final stage, going into that, those races, and you're above the cutoff or maybe below that cutoff, and if someone is a lap down ahead of you and you're like, okay, I need to get these points, I need to get them bad, because this is where my points could probably just fall off a cliff. This could be.
What's the next 5 races for Cup?
So tomorrow is Charlotte, next week's Talladega, Phoenix, Pocono, Atlanta.
I'd say a lot of those tracks you're going to have to really, on those, I would look out for Phoenix and Pocono.
Well, I mean, I think if you're trying to say, well, I mean, yes, those two are. I mean, another thing, Dave, is that Pocono has that pit road where the access road gives you a penalty, and we're not going to be using that, so everyone. And that's going to determine. And I think, remember, Phoenix in 3 weeks.
Quit getting in the trash.
Pit road is going to be extreme. You got to get on pit road really good and make sure because that
you
pit
have to
road
be
is
smooth
long.
at Phoenix. You have to be smooth at Phoenix as far as getting on pit road. And I say that, Nick, because it's my home track.
And you got to realize
you have to be smooth.
You also got to realize pit road is very long, and if a caution comes out and the leaders pass you twice, your lap's down. You got to make sure you don't get screwed on that.
Not necessarily, Nick, because you can always get a lap back if they haven't pitted yet when that caution comes out.
I know Earl runs real well at Phoenix, and I think that's where everybody. If you're going against like somebody like a Talladega or a high draft track, if you want to do, I don't want to say this, but because it's kind of my thing. I won't help anybody out. If you're the points leader, I'm not going to help you out.
No.
I'm trying to get the points lead.
Well, absolutely. That's the whole thing.
You're working against your opponent, you know. You're working.
Well, not only that, I also feel like Talladega for Cup could be the race where it could possibly determine our champion. It's possible.
There is possibility.
It's a very possibility.
Yes. I think we've talked about trying to figure out all these playoffs, and I think now if y'all got time for favorite memories, because that's another segment.
No, we're not done with that, Nick. We've got like underdogs and stuff for Xfinity and trucks. You're jumping the script here just a little. Let's talk about the underdogs for these playoffs here.
Go ahead. I mean, I've got ears. If you got underdogs,
I think. Well, here's the thing. Maddie and I were talking this morning. We feel like the underdogs in Xfinity are going to be me, Speedway, and Toombs.
Absolutely. I mean, I can see that.
Now with trucks, I think Speedway, Rogue, and Reb are going to be your underdogs that can sneak up and maybe go on a run.
Right.
I don't know what your guys' opinions are, but those are my opinions.
Well, you also got to realize that Rogue, he's been in this situation before. He's been on a spot where he's got to come in the crunch time knowing that, okay, these playoffs are my go-to thing where I've got to make sure I can lock myself in. Yes, Rogue has been in a Final Four spot, but yeah, I think Speedway is Speedway is an underdog in Xfinity and trucks because, again, he is a rookie. He's fast.
Absolutely.
He could have won Bristol for crying out loud.
He should have won. Not to harp anybody for anything with that race, Nick, that we called back at Bristol earlier this season, but that last caution doesn't come out. Speedway actually wins that race.
Exactly.
Plain and simple. Plain and simple.
It would have actually been a battle between him and Dave because those two were actually...
Yeah, because those two were battling for the win. But it was just mayhem that night.
It was. And I tell you, Speedway is a good underdog pick, and I'm agreeing with you on that. So,
I should have got down to the bottom.
Well, another driver I think who's an underdog, and I know he's not going to want me to say it, but you, Dave, because I know you've been in this league for so many seasons, and yet one of these
we just feel like that win's coming.
Exactly, it's an Xfinity.
I hope it comes soon.
We all hope that some of us that haven't got that first win this season, like Turnover got that first Xfinity win at Gateway. Fula picked up his first 2 Xfinity wins this season at Vegas and Chicago. You know, Full Pull earlier this season, one at Kentucky. You know, Full Pull also in the trucks, won the first 2 races of the regular season. I'm telling you, Maddie's been big on Full Pull, throughout this season. I think Full Pull's going to make a little bit of noise in upcoming seasons regardless.
Oh, I agree 100%.
I agree.
I mean, you gotta realize, Fullpool, I mean, yes, I think Fullpool is a guy who is like the young up-and-coming superstar of the league. He is the new face of the guy where he's like, okay, I am consistent. I can consistently...
be a contender.
Exactly. I can be a contender week in, week out. He is one of my guys I think can get to Atlanta if he can try to make these points up next week. Because what I think is Fullpool is that, like we mentioned, he won the first 2 races back at Daytona and Vegas, and I tell you what, he hadn't been to victory lane since. He's been close, but yet those 2 wins are his only 2 career wins, and I tell you what.
That's okay. That's okay, though, Nick. You also have to realize that not every track is going to be, oh, well, I'm that good at that track.
It's not going to be a walk in the park for you.
It's definitely not a walk in the park for anybody. And especially for the defending truck champion, he knows this isn't going to be a walk in the park either.
No.
He's going to have to battle his ass to get to Atlanta. Even as the top seed, you still got to stay consistent, stay on your game to get to that spot.
Another underdog I think y'all are sleeping on is Rolling Duck trying to get he's trying to get all the way up there.
I think Rolling Duck's on fire. I think Rolling Duck's going to be a contender to get to that championship for trucks.
I believe that myself.
I have another underdog. Y'all are going to call me crazy, but I'm going with Turnover. You got to realize last season Turnover made the Final Four. And he didn't win the championship, but he made us all surprised. And he shocked everyone, saying, "Man, Turnover's in the Final Four." And boy, Turnover's a Final Four. I think Final Four for both Xfinity and trucks, if you ask me.
It's possible because Turnover earlier this season in Richmond for Xfinity had a really fast car. He could take that he could take that information possibility. You got Texas both Wednesday and Thursday. But if you take that kind of information and put it into your truck information, he could have a good playoff run here in the trucks. Turnover could make that Final Four. He could sleep his way into it. You never know.
Oh, I agree. I really agree with that.
My 2 guys in Xfinity that I like, and one of them is Exiles. He's really been pushing it. And the other one is the man, the myth, the legend, Turnover. Those are my 2 picks in that one. I think Xfinity.
I think JPR is going to be tough, though. JPR is going to be tough.
Oh yeah, I mean he'll be tough. I think but I'm not going to pick a Final Four. There's no way.
I'm not either. I'm not going to pick a Final Four right now.
It's too close. You don't know what's going to happen.
Well,
we don't know what's going to happen this week either. You can't go off an early prediction just from regular season and go, oh, this is the Final Four now.
Well,
it just doesn't work that way.
You also got to realize this too, guys, is that Ziles is an Xfinity Series champion. So, yeah, he is a low seed going into this week. But then, how will that translate? How will he translate that into the regular season?
That's just it. G-Pre is a 3-time champion, and he always comes around when it comes to playoff times. I would watch him too, because he's that. When it's playoff time, he shows up.
He does, and it is those guys who were like, okay, I have a car I can win a championship in, and everything like that. And I'm telling you, he is, like you said, Dave, he is a 3-time champion. Yes, and I am very happy to see that. And yet, I think he's going to be a champion again. I think it's maybe this year.
It's possible, Nick, but never say never. Never say never to anything.
I'll just tell you this. G-Pre has an average finish of 3.2. The playoffs.
That's scary. That's a scary average.
That's scary.
You basically may have to watch out for that 54 car if he races in these playoffs.
He is a very fast contender come playoff time. I tell you, I've known from experience.
Not only fast, but he can strategize.
I know another person who could strategize, and that's you. And that
yeah, but I've had the worst luck at Xfinity, so I get a win, I'd be happy. I really thought I had it at Bristol, which I hate Bristol, and I should have wrecked JPR, but I didn't.
He said I should have, but I didn't.
Should have, would have, could have, Dave.
I'm just not that way.
No, it's just we all are different how we racing, but we don't wreck anyone just because we're not like that. But yeah, I think there's a lot.
No, it's just a damn game. There's no need for retaliation.
There has been some issues with that, but we're going to watch really closely during playoffs. So if you want to retaliate, it might cost you.
I think that is the biggest key. If you ask me.
It is a big key. And Dave, I know me and you talked about it too, but I also could smell maybe a few paybacks with some drivers, from the regular season. I can smell it in both series.
Yep, I can too.
Well, I also got to realize this too. There's always a battle between Dave and Maddie. There's always that
their
battle.
cars are like magnets.
They are. I tell you.
You may as well. To be honest with you, I think you should just glue their cars side by side next to each other and just make them race against each other the whole time.
Yeah, I agree on that.
Make us block the field.
Just have them block the field. Yes. If you get around them, you're good to go.
Absolutely. I agree 100% on that, ladies and gentlemen. I do. Holy smokes.
But now that we've got those underdogs out of the way, though, we could share some stories probably at this point.
We do. We do. And Dave, you got any memories?
Not right offhand, but I was just.
I do.
Stuff.
I do. It's becoming the meme of our league. Don't you touch my internet.
Yeah.
We're telling you, we're making it. We can make merchandise off of that.
Oh,
I was so mad that night. I was so mad that night.
Hey, I'm not lying, Dave. You should make merchandise with that catchphrase on it. Don't touch my internet.
Oh, I was so mad that night.
I'd buy a shirt right away.
Yes, that race that night. My mom is. I think I talked to you, Dave. I said, Dave. Did you out? And I got nothing from you for like seconds.
he was yelling at me.
I was on pit road at the time. I was talking to turnover, and I told him I think I was telling him I stopped, and all of a sudden, I think no one notices. I think we're all locked in. You just hear Dave have his mic. I think he threw his head there. He's like, you don't use that. And we're like, what in the hell just happened?
Yeah, there was a few choice words.
I'm sure there was a few choice words in that house.
I think everyone was like, what in the hell just happened? Swear, man, I think
Dave was running top 5.
Yeah, I had a good truck that night and running top 5 and
it happens
on the 4th place and I always run good at Atlanta, but something about that track just hates me.
I'm telling you, there are tracks that hate every driver. Every driver hates a track every time, but then you gotta realize, you get your redemption arc of it, Dave. You get the redemption arc of it.
Mm-hmm. But I'll be honest with you, I hated Indy Roval, but I tell you what, I had fun.
I think
that was fun. That was fun. That was fun for us. That was fun for me and Nick to broadcast. I will say that.
It was a great broadcast. I think, Dave, that was really good to make history in the making. That was really fun having history in the making that night.
Well, hopefully the new game comes out. We'll make a bunch more history. So.
Well, not only that, there's going to be tracks on the new game that weren't even on this game that we'll probably be able to race at Lake Coda and Nashville and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
Well, if you are doing Coda, I'm broadcasting that race. Thank you very much. So,
well, Nick, that's way down the line.
I actually ran Coda on Formula One. I kind of liked it, but
yeah, it's a challenging. It's a challenging road course.
Yeah, it's going to be really something in NASCAR. So
it really is.
I think it is, and here's the thing, and I think I said this a few weeks ago when we were on the show. I think this game, because it's a whole new manufacturer and stuff, new developer, I don't know if it knocks it out of the park right away, but it's always that second game when they switch over developers where it's like, oh, we literally knocked it out.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe this first game is like a double, and then the next game's a home run.
Well, I'm not going to say the name of the game, but the last game that we went to was everybody spent a lot of money on it. It was just junk.
Yeah, it was.
It was just junk.
It was junk, if you ask me.
When you're driving at Daytona and you go under the track, where do you turn?
You got nowhere to turn. Except the wall.
Yeah.
But yes, there are a couple memories that I think there was some, but again, I probably won't forgive Jamie for making me not get my. That would have been a win I had in my hand, but of course he decided to take it away from me.
Jamie outduked you on that one, my man.
Yes,
I hate to tell you that.
Oh, I know he did. So it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is what it is.
There's a lot of good memories, and a lot of them have to do with people saying something, and a lot of people have their mics muted, and you're like, well, man, I've had my mic muted 20 laps.
Oh my goodness, I know that for a fact. I'm asking someone a question, I'm like, hey, how much you got, or, well, what are you doing on the racetrack or something like that? And they're like, oh, snap, I'm sorry, I had my mic off the whole dang time. Funny. It's funny, dude. It's great. But,
And then you got somebody like Turnover doing the Muttley laugh back there,
Dude,
now that Muttley laugh is now becoming me when Matty does his prayer Wednesday night.
Yes, his prayer is amazing, but not the best prayer I think we've gotten is Keystones. Nothing can top that. Nothing
tops the Keystone intro.
Nothing can top a Keystone intro. But yeah, I mean, holy cow, dude. But there's one memory I will say, but I know it's 2 minutes to 9, but I know we gotta get ready for bed and eat because it's been a day. But I will say one memory I do have of me and Keystone, New Hampshire, one season, I think it was season either 10 or 9 or 10, says to me, he's like, Nick, if Florida beats Tennessee, I will pull over and let you win. But if Tennessee wins, I'm going to brag about it. And he went. Okay, so the race is over. Florida wins, and then I think a couple days later, I think it was either an Xfinity or trucks. He says to me, he's like, "Oh, Nick, I totally forgot about our bet." I was like, "It's too late now.
Too late now.
Too late now. It's already over with." So. Yeah, but that was a good memory.
I got a pretty good memory about New Hampshire. I mean, I was just horrible at that track. In last place all the way around that track, and we were running, I believe it was Cup, and I wasn't doing nothing special, just running the track, and apparently, I don't even know how I did it, but I saved enough tires to get to the end. Everybody's pitting, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm 5th, 4th, okay, 3rd. And I didn't even realize I was 1st for a while.
You didn't even pay attention to the...
No, I hate that track. And Keystone, well, Dave's got first. There ain't no way of catching him. He saved so much fuel. I said I wasn't saving fuel. I just ran the track just like I do Richmond, just take it easy and try not to wreck the car. Ended up winning it. I don't know how I did it.
It happens.
Well, another thing, how I think I've already told how I got my first one. It was like I think it was the first pit stop in that third and final stage. I see Maddie going towards the inside wall, and then I'm going on the pit road. Brandon's going one way, and I'm like, where is he going, man? And I'm looking at the positions. I'm like, oh, I'm leading. Well, that might be short-lived, because I may screw something up. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna finally win. Woo, that's cool. I didn't expect to have it was a good battle between me, Maddie, and Brandon, though. It was great. It was just fun.
I gotta stay away from Brandon at Michigan. I mean, we seem to find one another there, and it never fails. We get wrecked, or I wreck him, or he wrecks me, or it's just.
It's one or the other. It's one or the other. It's one or the other.
Or you just get caught up in something, and it's.
Watch it happen in 2 weeks in the Xfinity playoff race.
No, when Brandon gets around me, I started to let him go. I don't even want part of it.
No.
I just let him go.
Yep, absolutely. Well, folks, we are at 9:01. I haven't had dinner. I've had a day. I want to thank our sponsors really quick before I should have done this on the intro, but I want to thank our sponsors really quick, Mustang Makers, for providing our beautiful trophies. Again, if you want a trophy or want a championship or an award, they are the makes. They've made them, but Maggie doesn't have money to mail them out, so be patient. He'll send them out as soon as he can. Printaholics, so much of the merchandise with our t-shirts. We're hoping to get more merchandise like t-shirts and hats or stickers, whatever. Hopefully, Dave, you can talk with them and see if we can get any more merchandise.
Yeah, we're working on it. He's been a little busy, but we got a couple ideas for shirts, and I've already ran them past Maddie.
Awesome.
Sweet. Beneath the Oaks podcast. If you'd like to listen to them, you can find them on Spotify. You can listen to them on your phone, your tablet, while you're working out, or even you're just going to sleep or just bored. Just listen to them. They're great. They mention us. They're our Xfinity sponsor. And, of course, we can't forget Tomco Prince. With that, ladies and gentlemen, watch out. I'll let you do your outro.
Until we see you again at Texas, head to